And can I please remind everyone to please go to the upper right-hand corner of your square where your picture is. Press the dots and choose rename yourself and put your first and last name, as we are trying to take attendance and see who is here. And if we just have a first name or a last name, we may not know that that is our student, especially if they're faces.
That's great. Did everybody hear what Dr. Hamilton said? And I think you know how to go and rename yourselves. Okay. Hey, Dr. Lamb.
Hey there, how's everybody?
Doing great. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and that way I can kind of give an idea of what today is going to look like. Let me pull it up. Here it is. Okay. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. Have a lot to cover. Want to welcome you to our session 2 of our Zoom coaching for this semester. I've enjoyed talking with the ones that have come on earlier, and it just appears, you know, based on the questions that you're asking, even during the library sessions with Dr. Bishop, it appears that you are all well on your way to, you know, getting task 1 of the APSO done, and you seem to have a great understanding of what you're doing. Let me tell you briefly what this evening is going to look like. First of all, thank your instructors for being here, and Dr. Lamb as well. Dr. Lamb's going to start out our session, and I put a lot of stuff on here. He may be able to cover it all. If not, he'll tell you that he can't and tell you when he will be able to cover it, but I went ahead and put it up there anyway. But you can see that Dr. Lamb's going to begin by talking about the 21 competencies and the differences between what are evidence competencies and task work competencies, you know, versus the competency folio. He's going to introduce that. Then he will talk about setting up your DRF folio, and if he doesn't start on that tonight, he'll tell you when and tell you more about that. And then, as last week, he said that he was going to see if there's any questions about Zoom, Blackboard, or YouTube, and then anything else. Then we're going to do a brief review of task 1 that's due this week for our review. And then Dr. Revis is going to go do an overview of task 2, which was introduced on Tuesday evening. Dr. Hamilton's going to do a pretty detailed presentation of the peer review process. And then we're going to end with Dr. Crawford talking. He's a sitting principal, and he's going to talk to you about his perspective as a principal of the professional learning community, which you're so engaged in. And then we'll have time at the end for you to ask questions if you have any questions. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lamb.
Good evening, everybody. I want to start us out. Again, welcome. Thank you for being with us. I want to start us out with the difference between an evidence and an artifact. Now, one of the things that candidates mistakenly do when they first start in this program is they use those 2 terms interchangeably. They couldn't be more different. So let me share my screen and go to the State Principal Evaluation Manual. Let's see. Where we are here. Here we go. So this is the State Principal and Assistant Principal Evaluation Manual. And one of the first things it starts out with is the definition of terms. So we want to start out with an artifact. An artifact is a product resulting from a school leader's work. That's something that you have generated from the work that you do. It is not made for an evaluative purpose. It would be like, so let's see what the examples are for an actual principal. It has it in the evaluation manual. Here are suggested artifacts for standard 1, the school improvement plan, teacher working conditions survey statements, evidence of school improvement team meetings. That would be agendas, minutes, the budget, things that you have developed as a byproduct of the work that you do as a school administrator is an artifact. You will generate artifacts in this program. You will, from doing both your evidence work and your clinical work, 80 hours at your school, you will generate artifacts. They prove the work that you did. They are proof of the work that you did. They are not created for an evaluation. They are created as a byproduct of the work that you do. So, if you go to your class shell under Mel's Handbook and Competency Folio resources, you will see there are two documents here. One is Competency Folio artifacts, which are proofs from the 6 evidence, and then there's one that's open-ended from the 80 hours of clinical work that you do. So what would be the artifacts that would be generated by a student in Mel's 601 add-on this semester? So from the 6 evidence, which is the AppSell and the AppTell work that you do this semester, these are the artifacts that you would generate. You would generate an email PLC permission from your principal when you ask them. That could be a screenshot of that email. A PLC agenda, it can be electronic, it could be paper, it could be a Google Doc. But some way that you can grab that. You will have minutes of your PLC meeting. You'll have pictures of that or video of that PLC meeting. You'll have a data set of validated scores when you get to task 2 and you start doing your data dive to figure out what your most pressing need is. You'll have to pull your standardized test scores. That's an artifact. Your research study abstracts when you do your lit review and annotated bibliography, and then you'll have pictures of video of your action plan and its presentation, hopefully. Those are artifacts. Those are things that you generate by the work that you do. In addition to those artifacts, when you do your clinical hours at your school of those suggested activities, those generate artifacts as well. So let's look at that. All right, when you address a large or small group of adults, you would have an artifact that would fit dialogue, inquiry, or communication. Now, what would that artifact be? It would probably be either a video or a picture of you doing that, maybe a screenshot or an email of you announcing it, or somebody, an agenda of it, but that will generate artifacts. All of these things that you do, you're open-ended, your suggested activities during your 80 hours, they all have the potential to generate an artifact. Now, just writing up what you did is not an artifact. That's not proof of anything. You can tell us whatever you want to tell us, but that's not proof of anything. We must see a byproduct of the work that you did. Now, we're going to capture all of those things in a competency folio in taskstream. It's going to be separate from your DRF portfolio where we capture your evidence work. This is artifact work. Artifact work goes in the competency folio. It's things. Now, let's go back to our definitions. What is an evidence? You have 6 evidences due this semester. You're working right now on the AppSell. That's the first of your evidence. What is an evidence? Documents that demonstrate or confirm the work of a person being evaluated and support the rating on a given element. That means you are writing these for an evaluation, just like we're going to give you an evaluation on them at the end. That's what principals have to do. Now, you're asking yourself, how are principals and assistant principals evaluated? Evidence and artifacts. They have to write up what they did. That's called the evidence. They have to show the artifacts that they generated. I mean, we love you, but we can't just take your word for it. You write your evidence. That tells us the work you did, and it's done for an evaluative purpose. You write the evidence. We can look at it and evaluate, yeah, you did what you're supposed to be doing. The artifact is generated as a byproduct. You don't just create it out of thin air. The evidence goes in your DRF portfolio and task stream. We have a place for all 6 of them and the accompanying pieces that go with them. And then when you finish your competency folio, it's in a separate place. When you finish it at the end of your program, we'll move it over to your DRF and evaluate it all at one time. But you're going to have 2 folios in task stream. One that I created where all you got to do is put your work in, and then the other one where I created you a template, but you will build it so that you will have control over it. Because guess what? By far, the best thing that you can do to get a job in this business is to send something to your portfolio, to your web folio, not the evidence work. They don't want to read that stuff. Hell, I don't want to read that stuff. Nobody wants to read that stuff, but they love to see pictures. They love to see your portfolio, the stuff that you did. That prospective employers love that stuff. And you say, well, Dale, why didn't you? The way we've got it set up is for you to be the owner of it, you have to make it. If I make it, I'm the owner and you don't have any control over it. Now, it takes you 30 seconds to make it because I've got the template already in there. All you got to do is decide what name you want on it. Boomity, boomity, boom, it's created. And then you work on it. You build it. You put your stuff in it. You make it yours. You show pictures of you doing stuff. All your artifacts go in there. You put little descriptions. You don't have to write, this is me doing that. That's all you do. And it tells you under each competency what artifacts to put in there and where they should come from. But you make it yours, you make it your own. You can send it, you can publish, share it, send a link to a prospective employer. Boom, they can open it up on their email, on their phone. Boom, here's the stuff you did. Here's the pictures, screenshots, JPEGs, PDF files, whatever. Here it is. It is, principals love it. They can really get a sense of the work that you've done from that. Now, we have to do it because we have to prove that you did clinical for at least a year. And when the state says, and when we say we have to prove that you did a clinical, they got to see your stuff. Remember, they make principals show their stuff. Please remember please remember, they make principals show their artifacts. Everybody's got to show you work. Everybody. Might as well get in the habit of it now. And this, there's a number of things it satisfies the state requirement. It proves that you did your year of clinical. It shows that you do understand evidence and artifacts, and it also is a great tool to help get you a job and show your portfolio. So it's about as important thing as we do. And we just gather up our artifacts at the end of the semester and stick them in there. It's really, but you can make it your own. You can spend as much time on it as you want. And so I'm going to quickly show you where the difference in these two and where they are. So back to share my screen here. All right. When you go into taskstream and you sign in, there's going to be, now you're not going to have all these DRF boxes that I have here. You're just going to have one, and it's going to say school administration add-on spring 22. It's going to look just like this. You're just going to have one. And when you go in it, it's going to have where you put your evidence work. Move this out of the way. It's going to have where you put all your evidence work in there. It's going to have where you're going to put this semester, you're going to put your app cell, the app tell, you'll do a competency analysis at the end, and you'll do a disposition of yourself. That's what you do this semester. Again, there's no comments, there's no sandboxing, working back and forth. This is when your coach and your instructor says it's ready for evaluation, you put it in. This is where it will go. You'll have a DRF portfolio. This is for your evidence work. You will then go into your folios and web pages completely separate. I'll have it set up, and you'll create one of these. you'll create a competency folio. Communication, it tells you got to have 3 artifacts in here. Got to have 3, and it says where they got to come from. You see all these buttons on the screen. You can upload most anything. PowerPoints, Prizzies, I mean, other folios, Google Docs, videos, links, attachments. You can put anything. Embedded media. You can make it your own. I mean, and it's really simple to make one of these. I mean, you really click new. I mean, I've got a video. The video is only 2 minutes long. You just give it a title. Custom templates designed by me, and it's competencies for 21st century leaders. Pick what design you want. I feel like I want a butterfly tonight. There's a butterfly. I feel like a butterfly. Apply it. Preview it. There it is. It's just that simple. It takes that long to build one of these because I've already got all the hard work done. All you got to do is just follow the process. And I got it on video. So that's what we're going to do. But that's what we put our artifacts in, is the competency folio. We put our evidences in our DRF portfolio. And so you must know the difference between an artifact and an evidence, and never use those 2 terms interchangeably. If you do, especially around a prospective employer, they will know that you don't know what you need to know in order to get a job with them. All right, so that is where you find your artifacts. You're developing and writing your evidences right now. That's what we do with them. We put them in Blackboard, and then when we get them ready, we put them in taskstream. Now, you do not have to put your artifacts in Blackboard. I always get that question. Nope, just your evidences go in Blackboard. You will work straight into your competency folio for your artifacts in taskstream. You will work with your coach on that. You don't have to get approval to upload those. Remember, they're just things. Now, they'll look at them and say, yeah, that looks good. That makes good sense, or I don't get that. That doesn't look like an artifact to me. Now, they can do that because your coaches are going to look at them and say, yeah, that would impress me as a prospective employer, or, you might as well have done that in crayon. That doesn't impress me at all. And so that's what they're doing, is that they're looking at it from the eyes of a school administrator, and that's what they all are. What if somebody came in and was applying for a job from me, and they brought me this? Would this impress me and make me think I should hire this person, or would I think, this person needs to be wearing, a helmet? They don't need to be out on their own in public. Which is it? We want you to be impressive when you walk in. That's why these practicing administrators are looking at your work, your evidence work. Are you a strong enough writer that when you get in the job that you can pass your written evaluation each year from your superintendent? Can you pass that? That's the first part they're looking at. Second part is, when you produce artifacts, is this impressive enough for somebody to hire you? Now, if you're just doing this for giggles and don't worry about getting a job, then just tell them, and they won't be so hard on your stuff. But if you actually doing this for real, and you're spending $14,000-$15,000 for real in this program, then you need their feedback, because they know what they're doing. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Hopefully we'll have you up and soon. Please remember, you're going to get an email from Watermark to your Gardner Webb email as soon as drop ad is over. Now, bad weather has delayed it, so hopefully we can do it next week. If not, we'll do it the week after. We're getting ready for another round of bad weather, as you all know. And so I talked with Luann yesterday. The registrar says she is about 4 days behind because of the weather. So I'm not sure that we're going to get to drop ad and final enrollment until maybe the following week, and then Miss Wendy will buy your accounts. Everything's already set up for you. As you saw, it's all waiting. All we got to do is push the button. Just got, to buy you an account. We'll go. And after that, everything's already there. All right. I'm sure everybody knows how to use Zoom. Please remember that when you do a Zoom video, you only get 40 minutes on a free account. Some of you have accounts that have been bought for you or that you have bought by your school districts or you bought yourself that are unlimited. If you do not have an unlimited account, please remember you get 39 minutes, 40 minutes. And then, as you know, when you stop, it processes your video processes, and then you have to go into your file manager down here at the bottom of your screen and find it and rename the video, and then upload it to YouTube. Please do not try to upload MP4s into Blackboard or send them. We only send the links. We only send YouTube links. So if you are uploading, a video of you doing your peer review of task 1 and task 2, do not try to upload the MP4. We want the link on them. And so again, when you have done a Zoom video and it has processed and it has gone to File Manager, let me share my screen. Down here at the bottom, this little folder right here is File Manager. You go to File Manager and it will have created you a Zoom folder, and that's where you will find that video. You open up that Zoom folder, and down here it's going to have the date and what you did that day. So right here's one. I saved this one from earlier this week. And so when it gets done, this will be the name of your video right here. And obviously you can't upload that. You have to go into that recording, use the right mouse button and rename that. So this was my meeting with Kenny. Once you have renamed it, you then go to YouTube and upload it. This is the symbol right here at the top right. This is the symbol. Upload video. And you got to go back and find it. Select files. Go back to your Zoom folder. It's under documents, and there it is. Open it up, and so then I've got to go back to my meeting with Kenny. Open it back up. There's my meeting with Kenny. There's the video. I just changed the name of. Open it. Now, this is the part that everybody gets wrong right here. This is the link. You can copy it now or you can copy it later after it processes. Doesn't really matter, but this is what we share with one another. You can upload these in Blackboard. This is what we share, not the actual MP4 right here. Now, so that's what we want to upload. My meeting with Kenny. Next. Now, the next mistake we make. You have to make them public. Do not do unlisted. Don't do private. Don't try to do a private where you send a pass. No, make them public. Now, if you said something in the video that you didn't want to be public, then you shouldn't have said it. These videos will be public. I get random people all over the world watching my videos all the time. They think they're funnier than stuff that's supposed to be fun. And mine aren't supposed to be fun. And so people subscribe and watch these things. But that's just the only way this works. You have to do them as public, and then you publish them. And then again, when it gets through uploading in 8 minutes, I can get that link and share it, or I can pull that link before I do it. But while it's uploaded, I can't pull the link. Just remember that. But now you say, gosh, I didn't get my link. It'll come back. it will come back when it gets uploaded and it's all done. You can click on it and it will open right back up and you can get your link to share. But remember, everything now don't do this. Well, I send a password. I'm gonna make it private or no, it has to be public. We don't have time to try to fight through all of that mess. And that's another layer of idiocy that we can't deal with. Make them public if you don't want, and that will censor you when you're making them. If you know that they're going to be public, you won't be as likely to say something dumb like I do all the time.
Dr. Lamb, Jonathan has a question. Jonathan, go ahead.
Yes, my question was, do all the videos have to be uploaded in a YouTube format, or will it work if we made it public on a Google Doc with our videos?
We want them all in YouTube.
Okay.
Now you can do a Google Doc and as an additional, but we want them all in YouTube. Everything has to be in YouTube. Everything, every video that you do has to be in YouTube. Now, what happens is well, I can tell you what happens. Gardner Webb will put the fatwa on us where we can't open files if you upload too much stuff into Blackboard. I'm already past my limit. They've already got me. It's only the second week of the semester, and I'm already, because I've got everybody's course. And so what we're talking about, that's a great question, John. This is probably more than you wanted to know, but I've had to work around. I'm having to do a workaround already. Let me go to this. So what will happen if you do the Google Doc and not just do the links from YouTube? So what will happen is when you go to Blackboard Web Connect. Hurry up and load. So because I have everybody's, I'm already past the limit. So when you see my Blackboard pop up, you're going to see I've got everybody's course. See where it says my courses? I've got everybody's. It's in the MELS program. All the classes, all the internships, all my doctoral classes, everything is here. So I'm already past my limit on how much space I can take up. So when I go into one of my shells like this one, and I go in and try to open the work that the student has given me, let's see. If I go to try to open up that document, just like that, because I'm past my limit, there you go. That's what happens. And that's what will happen to you if you try to use those. And that's what will happen to your professors as well. If you overload everybody has a certain amount of storage space that's allocated to them. And it may work for a while and it may work all semester. But then when it stops, it stops. And then they can't use their shells. They can't open students' work. And that'll make them mad as fire. Now I know the workaround on how to get around this, but I can't tell you in public because they wouldn't be happy. But if I wasn't smarter than that bunch in IT, you don't need me to be in charge of anything. So I know how to do the workaround, but we can't do that. So that's a great question, Jonathan. So, but the reason why I'm spending extra time on this goes for anything that takes up a lot of space. Videos take a lot of space. What else? Audio file, anything that takes up a lot of space. Try to figure out a way to either upload it somewhere else and then use a link or do something like that. Again, if we run out of storage space, then then I'm going to have to go somewhere and beg for more space, and it's the enterprise architect that sets up who gets what. It's just a whole lot easier if we always use YouTube links. They don't take any space at all, and that makes it easier. Google Docs, Google Doc files take a lot of space as well. I've got a couple instructors that use them in 603, and we have to be judicious in the use of those because they take a lot of space. That's great. These are any technical system. These are the issues that you have. And so that's where we are on that. And so Zoom, YouTube, you understand what we're going to do in taskstream as soon as I can get you there. Next week, we'll probably talk about EVOS. So the question is, YouTube link save space? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Jenna asked the question, YouTube link save space for the folder? Absolutely. The link itself is just how many bytes, 6 or 8 characters or whatever. If you upload the MP4, every bit of it, I mean, it's like thousands or millions. And so you'll use up our space or your space and your instructor space pretty quickly. So yeah, YouTube links. We do everything in YouTube links.
Dr. Lamb, with the YouTube links and the videos, is there a way to edit it if we're in discussion about data and a specific child's name is brought up? Is there a way to like bleep that out for confidentiality reasons?
Oh yeah.
Or...
Yeah, you can edit them.
Okay.
You most certainly can. Yep, it'll let you do that. You can. The thing to do is before you upload it to YouTube, you can actually edit it as an MP4 on your own computer. Remember, when you get done, see, just let me get. That's a great question. Thank you, Dr. Scott. That's a great question. So, what I can do is I can go back to that meeting with Kenny right here. This is the MP4 right here.
Can you share your screen?
Pardon? Yeah.
Can you share your screen?
I'm going to in just 1 second here. I got to get back there first. All right, I'm there. Let me share my screen. All right, so you remember I went in and here and I changed the name of it in my file manager. See, that's an MP4 right there. And you can see it's what, 200,000 kilobytes. How many is that? That's 2 kilo. That's how many megabytes is that? 0.2 megabytes or whatever. That's a lot. That's too. That little short video that's only like 34 minutes, 36 minutes long. No, it's not that long. It was completed at 1:36, and so 23 minutes long. Yeah, 23 minutes. It takes half as long to upload them or for them to process as it does to make. So that's 23 minutes long, and that's 200,000 kilobytes, which would be what's that? 2 megabytes. And so what you can do is you can open that thing up as an MP4 on your screen right here. See, that's me and Kenny right there. And so that's me and Kenny right there. And so when you open that one up, obviously you've got it opened up in media player. You can edit it then. And you can once you upload it to YouTube, it's a little hard to edit. You can edit it while it's in the MP4 stage, just when you edit it, before you take it to there. That's a great question. If you've got something in there that you don't want, you can go into it, an MP4, and you can edit it while it's still on your computer before you upload it to YouTube. That's a great question. But you're right. If you know, a kid's name or something is mentioned in one of those, then, you know, you need to take care of that while it's in the MP4. The best thing again is don't do it, remembering that you are being recorded. But if something slips out, edit it while it's still in MP4. The MP4 is on your hard drive with that name, and then you take and upload it after you change the name to YouTube. While you still got it, you can use Media Player. Very simple to edit it. Now, Gardner Webb offers a video editing tool called Kaltura. It's for free. You can use it if you know how to use Kaltura. We have a license for that, but it's easier just to do it on your own computer as an MP4. You can do it through Media Player. Pretty simple. So I've told you more than I know. I've gone past my 30 minutes. So but that's the technology for tonight. If something is bothering you and you can't get it or you can't figure it out, or just like I get emails all the time, is this me or is this Blackboard? I get those every day, all day. Is this me or is this Blackboard? And I can tell you very quickly, it's either you're not quite high enough to ride the ride yet, or it's actually Gardner Webb's technology. I will let you know immediately. We've had a couple of those today, and so don't beat your head against the wall. Don't be frustrated. And so you know, just let me know if you're having a problem. Just email me directly. Email me directly. Because I am acting as your technical advisor for right now, so we can get you through. We don't, as quite honestly, some of the folks in our tech department are quite competent. We just don't have a lot of them. We made I guess 2.5, 3 years back, we made a mistake. We decided to do this voluntary separation deal, and we would pay between 2 and 4 months of your salary if you would leave. And we thought all the yard men would leave, but all the yard men stayed, and all the tech people took the money and left. And then they tried to put the yard men in the tech position. So it's especially slow during leaf season when they're trying to get them up. It's especially slow with technology in. But we've lost all of our good people. We paid them to leave. You can't make this up. We paid our best people in technology to leave. And so we have not caught up for that, quite honestly. If we had somebody, I would just like the lady at the library, Dr. Bishop, who helps you with your APA. If we had somebody in technology, I would have you hooked to them right now, but we don't have anybody. It's not leaf season, but they're putting down salt and sand right now. So it's a little bit slow on them fixing things in technology that's not working. I know that sounds like a terrible joke, but that's the running joke around our place is we paid our best people in technology to leave. All the yard men stayed, so we had to put them over there. But if you have issues, I will work with you. We also have a tech support for Blackboard. His name is Bob O'Neill. He's R. O'Neill, RONEIL. Goes by Bob. He's our tech. I emailed him yesterday, and he's ready to help us if we have a Blackboard issue. I heard from him early this morning. Now he works early in the day and we work late at night, but he'll get back to us. And so we do have a tech in Black. I can't figure out if there's a problem or why it's not working. We do have a tech assigned to us. His name again is Bob O'Neill. And Bob is good to respond. He certainly is. And so we use technology every semester. It gets more and more involved. So if yours is not working, please let us know. And again, don't be using Apple stuff. Nothing at Gardner Webb is compatible with Apple. Nothing. We don't have anything. And you know, I get that all the time. Is I did this on my iPad. Well, there you go. There's your problem. That's an IQ test. Don't use Apple stuff in a place that does not support Apple stuff. We can barely do Android. We certainly can't do Apple. So stay away from that. Well, that's all I know. I've got to go. I've got a meeting with my doctoral crowd here in a minute. And so, but again, thank you for choosing Garden Web. Hang in there. We've had a few to drop, but hang in there. It'll get better. I think next week I'm going to talk to you about EVOS. You can't miss that. That's everybody's favorite. That's the most favorite thing that in the whole Bells program is when we talk about EVOS next week. It will be an eye opener for you. It will be something. I don't care how long you've been in the business. You've not heard this before. It will be great. And then the following week we'll do taskstream, and then I'll turn you back to those folks. You know, you can get in touch with me anytime. I never sleep. I'm old. So you can get in touch with me anytime if you got problems. Let me know. Thank you for letting me join you tonight. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I'm going to make a decision, and I think that the professors will be okay with this. You just remember, task 1 is due for peer and instructor review on by Sunday night at 9 o'clock. If you have any questions about that, you just need to reach out to your instructors, and we'll be glad to help you with that. Task 2 was introduced this past Tuesday night. We'll go into much more detail with that this coming Tuesday night. So Dr. Revis, let's back off on that, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hamilton at this time, because I think the peer review process is probably the most important thing we need to talk about at this point. So Dr. Hamilton.
Thank you. And please tell me if you cannot see my PowerPoint.
Yeah, we can
So
see.
I have shared this. Can you see it, Dr. Stedman?
Yes.
Good, thank you. I have shared this with your instructors so that, oops, I just minimized the wrong thing. I have shared this with your instructors so that they can put it in week 2 of your Blackboard. So this peer review process, you're going to have your Zoom teams, and I'm sure that you already have those. And if you don't, and you don't think you're on a Zoom team, please let your instructor know, because this is very, very important. When you go into Blackboard, you will see, well, this is an old, well, let's see. You will be able to see where it says Zoom teams, and you should be able to go there and see who your Zoom teams are. So if you think that you don't know who your Zoom teams are, if you have no one on your Zoom team who is replying to you, please reach out to your instructors for assistance. And also the members of your Zoom team should have uploaded their contact information in the discussion board. And so that is a way that you can go ahead and contact your Zoom team. So you are going to do peer reviews starting after this Sunday, so just in a few days. So task 1 draft is going to be submitted this Sunday. So you're going to complete a peer review template for 2 of your Zoom team members. So when you go into, and if you can't see what I'm doing here, please tell me. You're going to go into peer review materials in Blackboard, and you will see right here a peer review feedback template. That peer review feedback template looks like this. If you can't see it, please unmute and let me know. Zoom has done some funny things that sometimes you can't switch screens. And so this is the template. You're going to go ahead and download this to your computer, and you will fill this in for each of you. Your name is your name. So if I am reviewing Dr. Stedman's work, I will put Robin Hamilton right here, and I will put Danny Stedman there. So that is the way that that goes. And so download that. You're going to type directly on that template, and you'll do this every single time. Use that same template. You're going to provide descriptive and specific and thorough feedback to the key questions that are on the template. Now, please provide this feedback as soon as possible. We know that this feedback is not due until the following Sunday night at 9 o'clock, but you are giving this to your peers to help them improve their work. So they're going to turn their work in no later than Sunday. So by Monday and Tuesday, you want to be filling out these templates. You need to be reviewing their work so that they have time to apply the feedback that you are giving them to their work. Not only does this help them improve their work product, but it helps you see what they're doing. So then you can think, oh, wow, they added student EVOS data, and I didn't add that. Maybe I should go back and add that. So it is mutually beneficial because you're learning from them, you are helping them improve, and in addition, it is giving you the experience to be able to give feedback to adults, which is what you are going to be doing as a school administrator. It's also very important to provide feedback about what is good, specifically what's good, because then people tend to do that even more and do that even better when you do that. And remember that feedback of good job or try harder is not valuable. Maybe good job, I don't know what that means. Try harder, I may have already tried as hard as I could have tried. So just keep all those things in mind.
Dr. Hamilton, I've made a decision, and I think you'll be okay with this as well. Peer reviews must be completed no later than by the time we begin class on Tuesday evening. They must be submitted. So that is something they need to work on when work starts going in on Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. We need them by Tuesday when class starts. Your peer reviews must be completed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that's a great change. And I think that that's very, very important. So thank you for that. I'm glad for that. So you're going to upload your peer reviews in two different places, but because you're doing peer reviews for two of your peers, this is going to be a total of 4 uploads. So in Blackboard, you will go to the discussion board, to the APSL task for review, or to the discussion board. And so this coming week, you will see APSL task 1 for peer review. I have a student who has already uploaded APSL task 1 for peer review. So whoever is peer reviewing Philip's work will go to this thread and reply to his thread. There'll be 2 people who will go there and reply to this thread and upload their peer review document for him there. So that will be the 2 places that Philip will get the feedback from 2 people there. And then each of them, so let's say that I did one and Dr. Stedman did one. And so then once we've done that, then we go to the in Blackboard to the APSL completed peer review Dropbox. And so I would go to task 1 peer review, and I would take my template that I gave Philip feedback on, and I would upload it here in APSL task 1 peer review. And then when Dr. Stedman comes in to put his in completed peer review Dropbox, he'll see that I've already dropped it there. So Dr. Stedman would go here. Well, excuse me, that's not true. That's not the way that works. Sorry, I just said that wrong. I'm going to do 2 peers. So my first peer, let's say, is Philip. I put that person's there. And let's say that the second person that I reviewed was Dr. Crawford, and I would put his here. And this is where I'm going to get my grades. I will get my grades right here from these 2. So I'm going to put it in 4 places. I'm going to go to the APSL. Let me scroll down just a little more, sorry. Task for review. And if I reviewed Philip and I reviewed Dr. Revis, I'm going to go to Philip's thread and I'm going to upload Philip's here. And then if there was one here for Dr. Revis, I would upload hers there. And then I'm going to go on down to the APSL completed peer review Dropbox, and I would put Philip's here in peer review 1, and I would put Dr. Revis's there in peer review 2. And that is where I get my grades from. So that is 4 uploads, 2 peer reviews that I will be doing, that you will be doing, and that's a total of 4 uploads, because you're going to give your feedback to your colleagues so that they can use that feedback. And then you're going to put that feedback into the peer review Dropbox so that your instructor will give you a grade for that. And please remember that what Dr. Stedman just said, that needs to be done before Tuesday evening class. We just looked at that. That is where the information is. There are seven areas on that peer review template: content, rubric strength, weaknesses, leadership, mechanics and grammar, organization, and APA formatting. So please look at all those things and help your peers with that. Another thing I always strongly suggest is to look for the red and blue squiggly lines, because that gives you an idea of maybe some corrections that need to be made. And then in addition to that, if you could just do that second check, if there's an in-text citation, there needs to be a corresponding reference in the reference section. And then if there's something in the reference section, there needs to be a corresponding in-text citation for that. If it says see Appendix A, check and make sure that that Appendix A is attached. So this is just an example for your peer reviews. So if Dale, Danny, Kathy, Robin, and Jamal were in a Zoom team, then Dale would review Danny and Kathy. Danny would do Kathy and Robin. Kathy could do Robin and Jamal. Robin would do Jamal and Dale, and Jamal would do Danny and Dale and Danny. And I've already had one student who's already taken the leadership to send this out to his Zoom team to say here, and he set it up exactly like this. And this can stay the same throughout the semester, or you can change this if you want to throughout the semester. That is fine. So again, you're going to download that blank peer review format or template for you to be able to upload each time. And you're going to do this almost every single week in this program. And you do want this in Word format so that you can upload it into Blackboard. You're going to be respectful and candid. We all want our work to be the very best that it can be. So you're helping your peers do their very best, and you're also learning from that so that your work can be the very best. And please remember, this is never personal, and we should not take it personally. And all feedback should always be descriptive, specific, and helpful. Todd Whitaker says that praise helps praise work is for it to be authentic, true, specific, immediate, clean, and private. And I sort of adapted that a little to the concept of giving feedback. It does need to be true. It does need to be very specific, immediate. And Dr. Stedman just added some parameters to that immediate feedback before Tuesday night's class. The closer to the time, the better. Don't attach anything else to it. Just keep it clean. And then remember, when we talk about this, that all this is confidential. So you don't want to be out talking about anything else. So keep it private and confidential. In your Blackboard, in your materials, you do have an example that Dr. Revis completed, and it is a wonderful example. And here it is for you. And it's very thorough and specific and complete. And so here is the example that Dr. Revis has completed for us. And this is a great model for you to model your peer reviews after. So please keep that in mind. So just remember that you're going to submit 2 templates for 2 different peers. And then you're going to upload those in 2 places: in the task review by attaching that to your Zoom members thread, and then also in the completed peer review Dropbox. And this is where you will get your grade. And that again is a picture of the peer review Dropbox. So this is all due no later than January 30th. And of course, with your first peer reviews being due this coming, your first APSL Task 1 being due this coming Sunday, the 23rd, now you need to have your peers, their feedback no later than Tuesday, the 25th. So make sure that you have that in there. Then in week 5, you are going to have a Zoom team video that you will submit where your team reviews at APSL Task 1 and 2 together. So right quick, if you don't mind, in the chat box, just type in true or false. I will download and save the peer review document as a Word document go ahead and throw that in the chat. True or false? Are you going to download that peer review document and put it true, 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 true? You're right. You're right. Now here's your next true, false question. I will upload each completed peer review feedback template in Word format in Blackboard Absol Task Review in your peers thread and in the Absol completed review Dropbox. True or false? True, 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 true. Ding, 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 ding. Everybody got it. Perfect. That's great. All right. So that is it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call me or any of your professors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. And again, very quickly, if we had had more time, I don't want to take more time than we need. Just a reminder that you know what has to be due, what is due by this Sunday night, task 1. So I don't need to go over that anymore. We have introduced task 2. We will revisit that on Tuesday night. Now, by Tuesday night, remember, by Tuesday during class, we will make comments on task 1 because we will have graded task 1 by then as instructor review. We will make comments. We will revisit task 2 as a review because we've already introduced it. And we will introduce task 3. Do you see how this is starting to roll out? So we'll actually begin somebody said true. Thanks, Mary. So this is a way of, you know, it's starting, the cycle is starting. So you have to keep up. That's very, very important. So we're going to bring closure to this evening with Dr. Crawford, who is a sitting principal at an elementary school. At this point, everything's about that PLC, the professional learning community. And Dr. Crawford, if you would bring some closing comments about, you know, your perspective of the professional learning community as a sitting principal.
You're on mute, Dr. Crawford.
Of course I am, because why wouldn't I be? So just very quickly, as you start looking at PLCs, one of the things that you're going to hear Dr. Stedman, Dr. Hamilton, myself, Dr. Revis taught you about the entire semester is making that transition of your thinking from that of a classroom teacher to that of an administrator. And so as you're thinking about all the data that's going to be coming your way, and there is a lot of data that is coming your way, how you deal with that and how you address that with your teachers is going to be critical. And so the first thing I just want to caution everybody is really have an understanding of what data you're dealing with. Now, I tend to think of data as 2 different pots. Autopsy data, like your EOG, and so got an email today that 2021 EVOS data has been released. Now, the most important part of that sentence was the fact that it was just released at January 20th, 2022. Nothing I can do about that data, and that's what I call autopsy data. Will we discuss it? Yes. And in my particular case, I got several things to really celebrate with my staff, and we're going to do so, but that data is long gone. It's important, but there's nothing you can do about it. And unfortunately, in North Carolina, that data always comes too late. Think about it. EOGs for 2021 were given at this point 7 months ago, when you think about it. And then you've got your checkup or check-in data, and that's anything from your district interims to NC check-ins if you have the opportunity to use them. DIBELS, common formative assessments for those of you that may use iReady. And I've given that about an approximate percentage about how much time you will spend with all that data, but just keeping in your head what data you are dealing with is important. The second thing I want to point out to everybody is just make sure that when you are having PLC discussions, that you are sticking with the DEFOR 4. Anything outside of that, folks, you may be meeting, and there may be some important things for you to address, whether it's how many kids didn't get the permission slip signed to go swimming at whatever place for second graders, to the ROTC students that are going to the air show on Friday afternoon or Saturday or whatever have you. All that stuff is important, but it's not the professional learning community that you need to be having to make sure that you are driving your school forward. So in my case, as I was looking at my EVOS data, I know that we spent a lot of time getting, down and dirty with math last year in the midst of all the tomfoolery that all of you are aware of. And that's how we went from, I think we were negative 1.2. So we met growth in math 2 years ago to 3.35 this year. So we had almost a 4.4 standard deviation swing in our math performance in the midst of a pandemic. And that's because we were very deliberate about what we were doing, how we were looking at data, and how we were addressing that in our professional learning communities when we addressed math. So again, all of you know or will know soon enough what the DEFOR are. Anything outside of those four, you're just having a meeting, and you need to understand that so that you can keep your folks on track. The final thing, and this is where it just takes some experience, is you want to be careful getting lost in the weeds, or the more professional way of saying that is you can be information rich but data poor. And then that circles back to number one, having an understanding of the data you are dealing with. So for those of you in elementary school, for instance, it is very easy to go down a very dark, winding devil's hole very quickly if you're not clear of what you're looking at and why you're looking at it, especially as you're looking at, looking from beginning of year to mid-year data, or in this case, looking at the mid-year data that's now coming in and what you're going to do with that from now until we start doing end-of-year testing. For those of you in high schools, work keys data is one of those data holes that's very easy to go, a dark rabbit hole to go down. I think the best way to look at that is by a picture. So as a principal, you want to avoid being the known here, in the weeds. You really can't see anything. Lots of directions you can go, and all of them may be important. But as a principal or an assistant principal, where you want to be is right here. You want to be in this helicopter. Looking down, you can see forward, you can see left, you can see right. It allows you to juggle several different things. It allows you to go backwards if you need to. So this is that check-in data that you want to be in. You want to avoid your teachers bringing you down here. Again, it's very easy to do. And it's a very simple conversations. It might start like this. Ms. McNeil will come up, well, I've got these two boys, and let me tell you what I've done with these boys. And then all of a sudden, your grade level conversation about how we're going to address phonemic segmentation for the next 6 weeks has now turned into a specific conversation about two boys. So you're sacrificing the other 150 kids. Now, is dealing with those two boys important? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And it's the same thing in high school if you're dealing with Algebra 1 data or your English 2 data. But you want to make sure that you're not getting lost in the weeds. Sorry, I'm getting bombarded by foil. Getting lost in the weeds, and your job is to make sure you stay here and keep your grade level focused on the big picture. Then if you need to go have that separate conversation about, and in it, she may have some specific concerns, then you have that one-on-one with them. This big picture of the flying car that the Jetsons promised us, which apparently are on the way, this is your autopsy look. This is your looking at EOG data. This is your EVOS data that again, that we just got on January 20th, 2022. It's good to look at. You need to know what it is. Yes, you will make some course corrections based on this, but the downside is it's like the guy that's giving you the autopsy telling you that you should have gone to the gym twice a week. Well, that's good to know. The problem is there's nothing you can do about it right now. And so again, going back to number one, having that solid understanding of which data you're dealing with, which direction you're going with it, allows you to control and point that conversation to keep it where it needs to go, keep that level of focus so that you can, again, think big. I think of it this way, thinking big, but having the ability to work small. I see a couple of hands up. Are those questions for me or just for the group in general? Mr. Jeffries, I saw yours up first.
Yeah, I was actually, when Dr. Stedman mentioned that the instructors will be reviewing our work, I didn't know if we were submitting it twice because we were doing that 4 times for the peer review, or is it just going to be you guys are looking at it on the discussion board and then giving us feedback from there?
Yes. You will not have a separate submission. Ms. McNeil? Or Mrs. McNeil?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going back to what Jonathan just said.
Mhm.
Maybe I heard it wrong. I thought we were supposed to upload our peer reviews on the discussion board and then upload it 2 times to our professor. So it's going to be 4
That
submissions.
is correct, Jasmine, and they're in 2
Oh.
different places. Your
Okay,
to your peers, it goes in one place. To us, for your grade, it goes in that other place.
okay.
Okay.
So that was my first question. And my second question, it looks like Dr. Revis did answer it. We haven't actually looked at the data yet, but I just wanted to make sure. So I did send you an email today, but that was actually what it was about, just to make sure I could use that iReady score. But my next question was, I found out today that the iReady test is only given 2 times in a school year. So because we have 2 semesters, I won't get their scores again until the end of this semester. So how will I show growth through?
Always use the most recent data that you can find. And
Okay.
even if it's last year's data and you're dealing with that, it's still going to tell you pretty much what you need to be working on and what you need to know. So always remember the most recent data that you can find. Or test.
Okay. So with that being said, I know there's no way I can show growth. Like as far as their scores, I won't get their score, or we won't see their scores within this PLC until the end of this semester.
But
So
that's
how do I?
okay. When you go back
Okay.
and you look at the most recent data in the last year, the last 2 years, whatever you've got, and you start looking at that, will give you a comparison. That gives you something to work with. So you make
Okay.
a comparison based on you really need to start looking at the current data that you can find, and the most recent 2 to 3 years of data is what you need to be focusing with.
Okay,
Because
that was my question. I just wanted to make sure.
Usually there's a trend
Okay,
when you're looking at things. So
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, Simone. We can't hear you.
$20, that's C money.
Simone,
Are you able,
we
are you
can't
able to hear me
yeah.
now? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm on my MacBook and I have like different screens up. So I was on a completely different screen.
Yeah,
I have like
yeah.
screens up. That was gonna be my question because I'm an instructional coach. So in my PLCs, I deal with so much data from M-Class, iReady, check-in. So I don't want to confuse the readers because like I said, I do all of it, but I guess just kind of narrowing down. So maybe for us, I guess the easiest maybe look at iReady because I can look at that for multiple years versus M-Class and we just switch from iStation. I just don't want to confuse. So just trying to make sure I'm on the best tracks as I do with all data.
Pick one.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good. Cindy?
I have a question. Okay, first you just said pick one of those data sources.
But you can look at more sources. You can use more than one if you want to.
Okay. I have a very
But-
small school
Yeah.
and it's one data source. It's
Right.
hard to pick one, I guess. But also I had a question about the Zoom meetings for our peer
Again,
reviews.
yours is an alternative school, right? So that
Yeah.
would make sense. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Go ahead.
could we really have like, I don't know, 40 students right now, so and
You,
it's a whole different subject, but
you use whatever you can find there, and that's what
okay.
teachers at alternative schools have to do.
Okay, and also the Zoom peer reviews. When do we need to meet for that, and how often do we need to meet? Do we need to meet for those for each peer review we do on Zoom?
No, that is not until week 5, and we will talk about that.
Okay,
It's not time for that yet. Dr.
thank you.
Hamilton just mentioned it, that it would be coming up, so it's not
Okay.
time for that yet. Okay. Okay, Dr. Revis?
Yes.
Okay, would you just bring closure to this evening and whatever else needs to be said that maybe we have not said?
Well, I know we throw a lot of information at you every week. And I know you're just thinking, will they please slow down? I promise you, you will get in this routine and rhythm with the work. So hopefully by now you've already had your first organizational meeting with your PLC. And on Thursday and Friday, you're going into the weekend, and hopefully you're going to have time to write up your task 1 and get that ready to go as soon as you can, but no later than 9 p.m. And hopefully when you met with your PLC this week, you went ahead and set a date to have your second meeting, which you're really going to dive into your data and do your data dive for task 2. So you're going to be fine getting these first 3 weeks under your belt. I promise you, your eyes will be open and you will see the routine and the flow of the course. And I'm sorry, but we won't slow down probably until about mid-semester. And then we give you a little breather. Not that you're not doing anything, but it's a little breather from that routine. So just hang in there with us. Again, if you have questions as you are beginning to write your narrative for task 1, reach out to us. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Revis. And Cindy and I were talking prior to us beginning our session this evening, and she's dealing with inclement weather. All of you are. She's using her time very wisely. We talked about that. Take advantage of the fact that you can't do a whole lot of other stuff. While you've got this time, use it to your advantage. The timeliness of the bad weather is really good for you, to be able to get some things done. So anyway, I'm looking forward, as well as the other professors, to your work that's going to be coming in by Sunday night. And again, if you get it completed before then, don't wait until Sunday night. The sooner you get it to us, the sooner we can give you the feedback and get you started in the right direction with whatever revisions would be needed. Okay. Well, we will see you on Tuesday evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night.